Orban and the second Orban. A false choice and a false change according to game theory. What if the system's greatest opponent didn't come from the outside? What if he was raised within? And what if the entire story of change we're witnessing is just one move in a game? Today I'll tell a story that looks like a political conflict, but maybe something much more logical. The story of Viktor Orban and Peter Magyar. Because before we get to the theory, let's start with the facts. Peter Magyar didn't appear out of nowhere. He wasn't an outsider. He wasn't a street-level revolutionary. He was part of the system. He had been a member of the Thaddeuss party since 2010. He functioned within its structures. He knew the system from the inside, operated close to the government, and only in 2023-24 did something change. Magyar began publicly criticizing the system. He began saying things he hadn't said before. He began attracting attention, and then something even more interesting happened. In 2024, he doesn't found a new party, doesn't build everything from scratch. He joins the existing political structure, the Thaddeuss party, and suddenly goes from being a member of the system to its most vocal opponent. For many, this is a story of rebellion, but game theory poses different questions. Is it truly a rebellion, or perhaps a strategic move? Game theory has a model that perfectly describes such situations, the prisoner's dilemma. Two players, each wanting to win, but if both fight to the end, both end up worse off. In the short term, it pays to betray. In the long term, it pays to maintain the game system. If a real war breaks out in politics, the system destabilizes, tensions rise, and there's a risk of losing everything. This is a scenario a rational player wants to avoid. And here comes the second model, the Kuchno duopoly. Two players competing but not destroying each other, knowing that if one tries to take over everything, the other will retaliate and both will lose. Therefore, the best strategy isn't domination, but controlled competition. And now we return to our story. Magyar was inside the system. He only left in 2023. He didn't create a new party. He joined an existing one, a Tissa. He entered the existing structure and suddenly became Fidesz's main opponent. From a game theory perspective, this is a very specific move, because true outsiders build everything from scratch, fight the entire system, and often lose. And here we have an insider, a quick entry into the game, immediate visibility. Is this a coincidence? In game theory, there are no coincidences, there are hidden strategies. And here comes the most controversial interpretation. This isn't a classic conflict between two players. It could be a system that creates its own alternative. Orban first and Orban second. One maintains power, the other absorbs dissatisfaction. One stabilizes, the other creates a sense of change. This is precisely the mechanism of Kuchno's duopoly. Instead of monopoly, we have two players. Instead of chaos, we have equilibrium. Instead of revolution, we have adaptation. And now the key. Orban, in quotation marks, loses because competition emerges, but at the same time, tensions decrease, the system doesn't collapse, the game continues. This is a losing strategy to win. From the voter's perspective, we see conflict, we see change, we see choice. From a game theory perspective, it's possible we're seeing system optimization. Because the most stable systems don't eliminate opponents. They need them, and sometimes they create them before someone truly uncontrollable appears. Let's accept this caveat. This isn't proof, it's a model. Reality might be different, but if game theory is right, it means that the biggest change we see can only be a well-planned move. Because in the eyes of strategy, the winner isn't always the one who destroys the opponent. Sometimes the winner is the one who allows them to exist, and sometimes even the one who helps them arise. Subscribe to Economics in One Lesson, because the world of politics isn't chaos, it's a game. And you've just seen one of its possible strategies. Thank you, see you soon.